All right, let's talk about a problem that I'm pretty sure every single one of us has faced: conquering the absolute chaos of our browser tabs. Today, we're going way beyond the basics to find the perfect tool for your specific workflow so you can finally start closing some of those tabs without that nagging fear of losing something important.
You know that feeling, right? You glance up at the top of your screen and it's just this sea of tiny little icons staring back at you. It's a digital mess, and honestly, it can feel completely overwhelming.
Yeah, there's actually a name for this: tab overload. And it's so much more than just clutter. See, we turn our tabs into everything: a to-do list, a filing cabinet, a kind of external memory. And every single time you switch between them, your brain has to pay a little focus tax. That seriously adds up and just destroys your ability to do any kind of deep, focused work.
So, a tool called Toby came along, and it was a real game changer. It popularized this brilliant idea of tab collections, letting you save and reopen entire groups of tabs with just one click. It's a fantastic concept, but a lot of us, especially power users or people working in teams, you hit its limits pretty fast. What happens when you need to handle multiple accounts or collaborate in a real way?
And that's exactly why we're here. We're going to dive into some alternatives. But listen, this isn't just going to be some boring list of competitors. We're going to look at these as specific solutions, tailored for very different ways of working, so you can find the one that fits you perfectly. So here's a quick rundown of the main players we'll be looking at. We've got tools built for project work, tools for just saving your computer's memory, and tools for, well, saving you when your browser inevitably crashes. Okay, let's get into the details.
First up, if your day is a constant juggle between multiple projects, different clients, or a bunch of initiatives, then you need to meet Workona. Seriously, think of it as the ultimate organizer for your browser.
Workona's real magic comes from its core idea of spaces. You group all the tabs for, say, Project A into one space and all the tabs for Client B into another. Now, when you switch to Project A, all the tabs for Client B just disappear. They're hidden, which instantly reduces that cognitive load and helps you stay locked in on what you're doing.
Okay, let's switch gears. Let's talk about a different problem. Your computer starts to sound like a jet engine because it's straining under the weight of 50 open tabs. For this, the most elegant and simple solution is OneTab.
And yeah, this number pretty much says it all. By collapsing all of your open tabs into a simple list, OneTab can slash your browser's memory usage by up to 95%. That is the difference between a snappy, responsive machine and one that makes you want to pull your hair out.
And the best part? It's ridiculously easy. You click one icon and boom, all your tabs are swept away into this neat little list on a single page. It is, without a doubt, the fastest way to declutter your digital space and just give your computer a break.
But what if your biggest fear isn't clutter, it's losing your work? You know, if you're a researcher with dozens of articles open or developer deep in a project, a browser crash is catastrophic. That is exactly where Session Buddy comes in as your safety net.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Session Buddy isn't really about pretty organization. It's about being a rock-solid, reliable backup. It automatically saves your sessions in the background, so if your browser crashes or your computer decides to restart without asking, you can restore everything exactly as it was in an instant.
So far, everything we've talked about is basically about managing lists of links. But what happens when your work is way more complex than that? What if it involves logging into multiple different accounts, often for the very same website? Now that's a completely different kind of problem, and it needs a different kind of solution.
I mean, really think about this for a second. Imagine you're an agency managing 10 different clients' social media accounts, or an e-commerce seller with 5 different storefronts. A classic tab manager can't help you there, because you can't be logged into 10 different Google accounts in the same browser at once. Or can you?
Okay, so this is the crucial point. We need to understand the difference between a tab collection and a live session. A collection from Toby or Workona is just a fancy list of links. You still have to click on each one and log in. A live session, though, is a whole other world. It's a shareable, already logged-in experience. It's the difference between looking at a map and actually being there.
So how is this even possible? Well, it's thanks to some really clever technology called session isolation, which is the engine behind a tool like Sendwin. Essentially, it makes each of your browser tabs act like its own independent browser, with its own separate cookies and local storage. This means you can have 10 different client accounts open, side by side, in the same window, with no conflicts.
And this right here shows you the incredible practical benefit. An agency can open all their client accounts in the morning. Then they can share just one of those specific logged-in sessions with a team member and even give them access for only, say, 2 hours. That person can get straight to work without ever needing a password. It's way more secure, way more efficient, and it totally eliminates those, oops, I just posted to the wrong client's account nightmares.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from simple decluttering to these complex collaborative workflows. So the big question is, how do you choose the right tool for you? Let's break it down into a super simple decision.
Honestly, it really just comes down to your single biggest pain point. If your entire life is organized by projects, look at Workona. If you absolutely cannot afford to lose your tabs in a crash, you need Session Buddy. If your poor computer is screaming for help, OneTab is your one-click answer. And if your world revolves around multiple logins and secure team collaboration, well, Sendwin was built from the ground up to solve that exact problem.
At the end of the day, the goal here isn't just to have fewer tabs. It's about creating a more focused, more efficient, and less stressful way to get your work done. By matching your tool to your actual workflow, you can go from tab chaos to total control. So the only question left is, which path are you going to take?